Hello, this is Jim for the Monopoly Project, and we're doing one of our floating book reviews. We're here on the Monopoly Project yacht. Every successful real estate entrepreneur has a yacht, and unfortunately it's a Bikini Girls Day off, so it's just me. But we're cruising on Val Vista Lakes. It's Thursday afternoon. It's still about 101 degrees, and we are here to review 3 books, and they are The Patriot's Fate by Alaric Bond, Stephen Saylor's book on ancient Roman history, Dominus, and finally Edward Slingerhand's book on Drunk, on why humans continue to get intoxicated even though there's so many deleterious effects. And so we're going to go through those books. I'm still recovering from my toe injury when I broke 2 toes by dropping a weight on them. We're almost at the point of amputation, but fortunately God saved me, and it looks like the toes are going to be okay. But I'm going to be on my feet. I'm off the crutches, but I'm going to be not working out or anything like that for at least 2 months. In any case, let's get started with the first book, again, The Patriot's Fate. And I have notes. You can see the notes. They're on the website with the book review. And so, probably better if they're right side up, right? So you can follow along. I'll be going through this, but like I said, let's start with the Patriot's Fate, the 5th book in the series by Alaric Bond. And so let's start off with that one. I'm going to flip through my notes here. I'm a bit wary about the boat because we've had some battery outages, and Melissa, for one, had to row back from the other. Actually, she got a tow from somebody from the other side of the lake, so we need to check the Monopoly Project yacht out because it has some issues. In any case, so The Patriot's Fate, it's 318 pages in the softcover version. It was published in 2012. It's the 5th book in the series. You've seen my reviews of the previous 4 books, beginning with His Majesty's Ship, The Jackass Frigate, True Colors, and Cut and Run. And now we're on this 5th one here. I've read all 4. I really like the series. I'm going to tell you a little why. But there will be some spoilers in my review, so if you want to be surprised, then I'll let you know before I say them. But let's go on. Okay, this is the 5th book, and as I've said before, this is unlike most of these series. You know, O'Brien, Forrester, Kent, Lambden, Pope, those are all authors who've written books of this nature, in which I've read, I think, all of those except Forrester, who wrote, no, I can't remember, Forrester wrote, well, now I'll have to edit this out. Anyway, Horatio Hornblower. Oh boy. Okay, so in those books, generally the plot of the book is that a guy starts off as a lieutenant or some low rank in the Navy, and then he rises up through the ranks until he becomes a captain, and or eventually an admiral. And of course, it follows his things. Sometimes the person starting off is from humble beginnings, a nobody. Sometimes he's in the middle, and in Kent's book, the guy is actually a royalty. He's some rank. I forget what rank he is, but in that book it's unusual because he actually socially outranks virtually all of his superiors in the Navy, including a lot of the admirals. So those are interesting, but Bond doesn't do that. He just follows a number of characters in a British warship of the Napoleonic era, from the captain on down to the lowest sailor, including hangers-on, male and female, in what you would find in a ship. And it's kind of surprising how many women stowed away on board pretending to be men and are working as that, and so forth. So in any case, as one of the reviewers, and I got a link in the page, shows, is these have no central hero but feature characters from all ranks and stations, and an innovative approach that gives an exciting and realistic impression of life aboard a warship of the period. And so That way it's interesting because that way there's some tension in who's going to get killed any time, because if you know the lead character is the guy who's going to be captain and the hero, you know he's not going to get killed, and in general his closest friends aren't going to get killed. Sometimes that's a plot device where eventually a close friend gets killed and everybody mourns him. Let me get rid of the phone, send a message for this phone call. And so so that is what makes this book interesting. And as example, in the very first book, they had a captain who I actually liked, and in the first big battle scene, he was killed at the very beginning of the big battle. The first shot, he was dead. So I like that because it gives a little bit, not of excitement, but unpredictability to the book. You can't just guess what's going to happen. And every book, each of his books does have a quote big battle, and it's almost always based on a real battle that was fought, in those times. And so he introduces fictional characters, as does Steve Saylor in our next review, Dominus. But they take part in real history, and they're sort of tell you a story. And I just want to say that Bond is excellent with his battle scenes. It's basically the best of all those previous series I talked about. I think he's the best in actually describing them. And so there's a good review about his historical accuracy. I'll let you see it on the website. I won't quote it here, but I certainly agree that he's very good at that. And so now I'm going to go into a spoiler, so if you don't want to know what happens, there does seem to be one key character emerging. I said there's no central character and there's no captain, but he's only a lieutenant, and he's in all 5 of the books, and he's growing. He gets most of the best roles in the battles and everything. He's of modest background, so he doesn't have anybody helping him rise through the ranks. But in an earlier book, he befriends an Irishman, and if you don't know or remember, at this point in British history, Ireland was in effect a colony, and it was very poorly run. In fact, the Irish were in rebellion, and so he becomes friends with an Irishman, even though the Irishman is not of his social class. He's obviously not an officer, he's not a lieutenant, he's of the lower decks. And so it's that sort of stuff's not supposed to be done, but of course that's a central plot device in all of these books. But in this book, they become unknowingly separated, even though they plan to sail together. And in the end of the book, Lieutenant King, unknowingly kills his best friend, and that's actually the illustration on the cover of the book right there, him killing his best friend. So it is interesting, and like I said, I got it here. You can see it on the website also. And the book is a fictionalization of the French attempt to foment a rebellion by the Irish in 1803 during the Napoleonic Wars. And it introduces the real Irish revolutionary Wolfe Tone. A very interesting story about Wolfe. They do a real good job in this book of fictionalizing the conversations between Wolfe Tone and this guy's friend, who's he's an Irish patriot, but he's not really convinced that rebellion against the English is a good idea. A lot of it because he realizes that they're going to probably lose, having been served in the English ships. He knows their capabilities. He knows the English aren't going to just give up and go away. But anyway, Wolfe Tone's story is really interesting of itself. This only talks about a few months in his life, but if you want to read a really interesting story, biography, look up Wolfe Tone, Irish revolutionary. It's really good. Anyway, this is becoming my favorite of all the series of the books I've read. I'm only up to 5, and I think there's 13. You can read more about Alaric Bond at that website. He has his own website. He writes other books too, not just this one. So very good. Like I said, it's becoming one of my favorites. So let's go on to our next book, and I will take a break and take the family phone call.